So a very effective way to make a lot of gold at the start of new WoW expansions is to use your alt army to do something that would normally have a long cooldown, or you could only do once, to make a lot of gold out of that. Whether it be using specific specializations in a profession that has a long cooldown but gives you a lot of valuable resources when that cooldown comes up, or whether it be doing one-time farms, or whether it be utilizing something like a weekly quest. There are a lot of ways to do this, and in this video I want to go over a mix of two different things that take almost no time at all. This could take like 5 minutes on each character if you get efficient at it, and this will be giving you quite a lot of gold per character, and most of the gold you're getting from doing these specific things is going to come from raw gold. So you're not fully reliant on selling materials that may have pretty heavy drops. Now there are two prerequisites to doing this farm using your alt army. First off, you're going to need a character that has completed the main campaign. I'd recommend doing that first before making any gold anyway. Go on your main or whatever character you want to level up first, go through the whole main campaign, get to max level, and then come back and do farms like this. Because this will unlock the ability to skip the introduction scenario and get right into this expansion. And then you will also have to go complete the abundance introduction. Now abundance is one of the new systems or events in Midnight, and it's essentially just these small little dungeons you go into and kill enemies and gather things, and it'll give you a resource specific to when you're in there that you deposit at these shrines, and that's really all you're going to be doing. But during the tutorial missions, it'll actually teach you about it. There's one tutorial mission to go into one where it tells you how to actually do the abundance. Then it'll have you go to all of the different abundance spots, and there's one on each map, and the abundance runs themselves I think are only like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So the whole introduction to abundance shouldn't take more than like 10-15 minutes. And after you've completed those two things, you are ready to start doing this on your alt army. So once you're ready to start this farm, you're going to log on one of your alts and you're going to go to Stormwind, Ogremar, or Dornegal, and you're going to talk to Lady Liadrin. And this is who you talk to usually start the introduction scenario into Midnight. Instead, she's going to have an option now to skip it. And when you select that, it's going to load you into Silvermoon, having skipped that introduction. Now, pretty much right where you spawn or right next to it, there's going to be a quest you can pick up that gives you a free bag of materials. This is going to be at the work order area, and all this quest is going to have you do is talk to the work order NPC, then turn in the quest. And you'll be able to choose between one of 4 bags that just give you a set amount of materials for whatever that bag is. So there's a mineral bag, a leather working bag, an herbalism bag, and a cloth bag. Now, if you have enchanting as one of your professions, you can also take the enchanting bag. Based upon what these bags actually give you, the enchanted bag is significantly worse than the others. Now, I went on alt and chose all these bags and check the prices of these, but this will have been like a day or two before this video is released. But based upon these numbers, the mineral bag, leather working bag, and herb bag are probably all going to be around 2,000 gold at this point. So you can choose any one of those you want. The other 2 bags you could possibly choose aren't really worth it. Those are just going to give you the most amount of gold. And again, I'd say it'd probably give you like 2,000 gold of materials out of those bags, unless they drop a lot more than I'm expecting, in which they could be a bit less gold. But that's the first thing. You could do this once on every single character. That's just a bunch of free materials you could sell for a few thousand gold per alt. Now, the second thing you're going to do is you're going to go and complete the weekly abundance quest, which you can do on any alt that can go into Midnight. This is not specifically a max level quest, so you can go do this on every alt once per week. So you could actually set all of your alts next to this and do this every week if you're still not leveling them up, and keep getting this gold every week. But all this weekly quest is going to want you to do is get a certain amount of abundance from these abundance dungeons. Now, after going through the tutorial, you should already know how to do these. All you're going to do is go into the free version of this abundance run, and you're just going to gather up as much abundance as you can. You need 20,000 for the quest, and if you're fast, you can actually get that 20,000 in the first run. Most of my characters, though, if you're not being as efficient as possible, you'll end that first abundance run with like 17 to 18,000. So just go back in there and do a second run. Again, the runs are like 2 minutes long, so it'll take you like 5 or 6 minutes to do these 2 abundance runs. You turn turn in that weekly quest, and that will give you some Void Light Marl. It'll actually give you 200 Void Light Marl for turning in that quest, which is really nice. Then it'll give you a bag of loot. Now that bag of loot will give you a piece of gear, which should usually be an upgrade for most of your alts. It will give you 100 additional Void Light Marl. So this is actually very good if you're looking for more Void Light Marl for using it at any of the renowned vendors, or even more specifically picking up a lot of the profession books for a lot of your alts. It's very good for that. But then the bag is going to give you a large amount of raw gold. Now, if you saw one of my videos going over the weekly quests in the War Within, these bags seem to not be working in that same way. In the War Within, opening up any of these like weekly bags could just keep procking higher and higher and higher gold up to like 30,000 plus gold. From every bag I've opened of these, and I think I've opened like a dozen of them, it seems that vast majority of these bags, probably like 90% of the time, these bags will just give you 4,000 to 4,500 gold every single bag. Now, I've also gotten like 1 or 2 procs of this being half that at like 2,000 gold, and I think it was somewhere in between like 2,000 and 2,500 gold. But again, I think like 90% of them gave me 4,000 to 4,500 gold. Now, I don't know if these have like the rare procking mechanic where they could just proc a lot more gold. My presumption is that they may be able to, since I can randomly proc like 2,000 gold. So they may be able to proc a much larger amount of gold. I just may not have gotten it yet. But for this video specifically, we're going to say you're going to get around like 4,000 to 4,500 gold per bag. So every single alt that you go skip the introduction scenario, go pick up your free bag of materials, and then go do your abundance runs to do the weekly quest, you will on average be getting a bit more than 6,000 gold, the vast majority of it being raw gold. And this whole thing should only take you 10 minutes if you're doing it slow. If you have to go do 2 abundance runs and you fly there quickly and you fly to the closest one, which is going to be in Silver Moon, you could probably do this whole rotation in like 6 minutes, not even being fully optimal. And that will just be a ridiculous amount of gold for being able to do this so quickly. And another small tip for any of the alts you're not actually going to be playing is that once you complete the abundance, use your cantina key, which is one of your toys. Just type in key, you'll be able to find it, that teleports you to the cantina, and then log off there because that is considered an inn. So that will give you rested experience on all of those characters. And once you log back in those characters, let's say you're not playing them and you want to go do the abundance the next week on those alts, all you have to do is walk back out of the cantina and it'll take you right back to where you were. That key no longer works as a Silver Moon Hearthstone. So you can essentially keep all of your alts parked at this abundance location while also keeping them in and in with your cantina key. So if you do ever want to go level up that alt, they will have a ridiculous amount of rested experience as well. And make sure to subscribe if you want to see other methods like this. And more specifically, I'm talking about using your alt army to do more limited things to make a lot of gold, because this specific method, I think, will also play into using your alt army for a lot of other things, specifically because you're getting that 300 Void Light Marl for each one of these weekly quests. And specifically, if you're trying to use your alt army for any profession things, that Void Light Marl is going to come in handy because you're going to need 750 of it for every profession that you want to get the max specialization points you want to. So if you're trying to go and get specific professions on a bunch of alt, you're going to need thousands and thousands and thousands of Void Light Marl, and this is going to give you quite a big chunk of that as well. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.